By way of a chairperson's address. Again, thank you for coming this evening. Your attendance is very much appreciated. I'm glad to have a number of positive developments to report. First, I'm pleased to announce that on the 30th of October of this year, Westport Historical Society signed a lease on the former Westport Courthouse. This is a preliminary 2-year lease which will allow us to carry out various surveys on the building. The idea being to investigate the feasibility of converting the courthouse into Westport's local heritage centre museum, which will in time replace the present Clube Heritage Centre at the Quay. We expect that the surveys will be completed within the coming year. If everything looks positive and we wish to proceed with the project, Mayo County Council have agreed to offer us a 25-year lease on the building at a nominal rent. The task will then be to commission plans and a schedule of works and costs, and to begin the process of making applications for grant funding. But for now, things are moving in the right direction on that front. Second, I'm glad to announce that we've been awarded a Heritage Council grant of €25,000, which will cover most of the cost of the surveys on the building. We will draw down that funding as the surveys are completed. This is crucial as it allows us to get through the necessary but expensive preliminaries and puts us one step closer to the new heritage museum that Westport so richly deserves. Third, I'm pleased to note the forthcoming publication of the 39th edition of our local historical journal, Courthouse. I'm sure you'd all agree that it's important to keep this publication going, and I wish to take this opportunity to thank Aidan Clark most sincerely for all the work he has done, having edited the journal for the past 20 years. So thank you, Aidan. And finally, I'm happy to report that Westport Historical Society is on the right track organisationally speaking, following on from some topics that came up at last year's AGM. In the last few years, we've done a lot of work regularising and streamlining the affairs of our charitable company, Westport Historical Society, CLG. The bulk of that work is now complete. We have changed our official name, as Brona mentioned, from Clube Heritage Centre CLG to Westport Historical Society CLG, which will, I hope, make life a little easier when it comes to grant applications and so on. We have also put a lot of work into figuring out the best structure for the group going forward. In recent years, membership of the society had dwindled for various reasons, and the idea of being a member became blurred with that of being a director of our charitable company. We at this table, and Leamy and Simon, are directors of the company, and legally speaking, a board of directors is required. That is, if we wish to continue to operate as a charity and to be in a position to attract funding. But what we want is a structure that allows members to get involved in the running of the society without that meaning that they need to become directors of the company. The solution I wish to propose is that the board of directors should take a step back and delegate the running of the society to a committee elected from our new members. The idea is that the board of directors would just take a formal governance role, meeting twice a year, while the activities of the society would be in the hands of the new committee. The committee would be composed of members who may be directors of the company, but need not be directors. Obviously, this transition cannot take place overnight. The new committee will be responsible for everything that the board of directors currently oversees: the Heritage Centre, our publishing, negotiations relating to the courthouse, and so on. A transition arrangement is essential, and what I wish to propose is that the current board of directors, myself, Anne, Leamy and Simon, should form the core of the new committee together with Brona as secretary. We could then hold a meeting in January, and if some of you were this evening either rejoining the society or joining it for the first time, wish to become part of the committee, then elections could be the first order of business at that meeting in January. We would certainly welcome anyone wishing to get involved and to serve as a member, as a committee member. We have some busy years ahead, so we need people who are willing to get stuck in. All of this is about ensuring that Westport continues to have an historical society and a local museum and archive. I think those are extremely important to the life of the town, so I strongly encourage you to consider getting involved on the new committee. The meeting in January will also be an opportunity for us to hammer out the details of how the committee should work, and more generally what sort of activities we as an historical society want to pursue. So I would like to put the matter formally, as this is the AGM, as a resolution. The resolution being that the current members and secretary of the board of directors should form the initial core of the new Westport Historical Society committee. I'll ask for a show of hands on this, but before doing so, if anyone has any questions or comments on this topic, I would welcome them. I just want to deal with this committee matter first, if possible, before discussing anything else. So if there are any questions or comments on the committee aspect of things, you're welcome now. The floor is open. Everyone happy enough? Okay. Well, we'll put the resolution, so if I'll just call for a show of hands. All those in favour of the resolution? And those opposed? The resolution is carried. The best way to schedule the meeting for January, I'm proposing January at the moment. That could change, I mean, depending on people's preferences, but the best way to schedule it, I think, is if I set up a WhatsApp group for the Historical Society members, and then I can send out a message and we can arrive at a date. We'll also email, I think, all members after this meeting next week or so on, just to make sure everyone's up to speed. Obviously, not everyone who wanted to be here this evening could be here. So we'll email everyone just to make sure everyone's up to speed. And at this stage now, I think I'll just open the floor. If there's anyone who wants to bring up anything in general, you're welcome to do so. Any comments or questions?